furries are home to many obscure talents you wouldn't think to associate with otherwise, such as dancing, singing, even being able to play a musical instrument in fursuit, just to name a few. Now I've come across various furries with several unique skills, but hypnotism, that's something else. Yes, as it turns out, hypnosis is not just a cliche seen in a cartoon with a pocket watch, but an actual practice that is still performed today. Meet HypnoFox Cole, a furry hypnotist that regularly streams relaxation hypnosis on Twitch, who agreed to come on the show to teach us a little bit about hypnosis. However, due to the nature that hypnotism is, he marks his streams as 18+, and has requested that we don't show the process. But after sitting in on one of his sessions, I can assure you that yes, it does work. What the So, you're not a furry hypnotist, you're just a furry that happens to be a hypnotist.
Yes.
You're not out here converting people, right?
No.
So how did you become a furry?
So back when I was in Virginia, I actually went to a anime convention, and this is where I got more prevalent in the furry community and started to entertain it more. But that's where I saw furries at an anime convention and thought it was kind of cool, talked to them a bit, ended up going to a couple of furry conventions that ran into a friend of mine in the Navy who happened to be a furry, learned a bit more about it that way, and yeah, that's kind of it.
So what do you like to do outside of this?
I am a engineer. I do radio frequency systems, so anything that's wireless I kind of work with. Other than that, I just have fun doing a little bit of voice acting when I can, usually just reading books, audiobooks. And then I used to be a referee, so used to get yelled at, you could say.
So how did you get involved in hypnotism?
That was actually back in high school. My senior year, I took a world's religion class, and part of that was doing meditation. One of the things we had to do was guided meditation, and with SATs, ACTs, getting into college and all that, final exams, it was just stressful, so I started doing guided meditation. Then I learned about hypnosis, and I started doing a bit of hypnosis. And then I wanted to learn, how does this kind of work? So I've read a lot more about hypnosis, and I learned it that way. Originally, I just listened to files, checked some stuff out, tried to figure out why does this work, and then I just started getting a couple books on it, reading articles, journals, just a bunch of psychology stuff on it. Probably at the start, I must have read like 5 to 10 different books on hypnosis. But if I was to recommend it to learning now, there's a website, howtodoinductions.com, I think. That, I think, is probably the best place to learn more about hypnosis, and a much easier setting than the road I went through. So at the start, I was very shy about doing hypnosis with other people, because, I mean, it's a bit weird of a hobby. So I would often try to do stuff to see if I could hypnotize myself. So everything I would do is I would write these scripts, and I would try to read through the script in such a way that it could hypnotize myself. And I figured if I could hypnotize me, then I could probably hypnotize other people too. But probably for my first 2 years of learning about hypnosis, I didn't hypnotize a single person. It was really that third year where I had a friend who was also interested in it that I was able to try it out on someone else finally, and it went extremely well. And then I started doing it more as a party trick.
So how exactly does it work?
Hypnosis is actually a very just natural thing. So there's nothing like, it's not an altered state of mind. It's nothing crazy like that. It's actually just a completely natural state of mind. The best things you probably have experienced that are the closest to it are being in the zone, or just being so focused on something like a game, a book, or a movie that everything else seems to fade away. Just having that intense focus where you're just so focused on something that becomes a passive focus. And the other one would be like being in a daydream where you have that suspension of reality and everything just kind of is kind of a bit of a fantasy. So when you're in that combined state of those two mental states, you have kind of this hazy, foggy, fuzzy memory or fuzzy feeling in that head. And that's kind of what hypnosis feels like. It's not like they describe it on TV where you're just absolutely blank, you're absolutely free of all thoughts. It's more like your thoughts are there, but they're just unimportant at the moment. You're just so focused on something else that nothing else matters.
So what about dangers hypnotism has to offer?
Dangers. Well, first off, trusting the person that you're working with, because you are more susceptible to suggestion when you are hypnotized. So having someone who you trust to not like do anything crazy. There's also a bunch of files out there labeled as curse files, which are essentially permanent changes, even though the mind is very elastic, so permanent is usually takes some work to happen anyway. But there's a lot of people who think of hypnosis as a power trip type thing. So those people are usually a bit worse to work with, and they're just looking to dominate someone for a bit, and that's people the sort of person you have to watch out for.
So can hypnotism cause permanent effects?
Yes and no. It's like if you do a routine every day, if you do something enough, it kind of becomes more routine and more part of your life. So with things like the idea of someone like using hypnosis to stop smoking, it's like adding in a bit of extra willpower to not have a cigarette, and eventually you do that enough times, you break the old habit of smoking and you set the new habit. So that's more of what happens with like a curse file, is setting up a habit. It's just like going to the gym every day, or something of that sort. It's a bit of a thing that you would have to set up the habit to be in place, rather than what's the word? It's not like poof, magic, permanent, done. It's something that you do have to work at, just like going to the gym. Does that make more sense?
So if you stream this regularly, what are Twitch's guidelines behind hypnotism?
So Twitch has a very interesting terms of service for hypnosis. It doesn't really say anything about hypnosis. That said, I want to be more strict with what I do, because I am putting people in a suggestible state. So I do things like I don't run ads, I don't do a lot of things that Twitch would probably want me to do. But I'm also very keen on keeping my topic under 18 or PG-13 for the most part, just because Twitch does have a lot of rules against, well, more adult content. So I want to stay clear away from that and make sure it's not showing up. There's a lot of things I can still do under Twitch's rules, but it's more so foreign governments and specific states that would have more rules against hypnosis than Twitch itself. Since Twitch, I believe, is based in, or Twitch is under Amazon, but I think it's California and Washington would be the two sets of rules it would fall under. And California is one of those places that does require a psychiatrist degree in order to be able to do hypnotherapy. So that's why I'm very clear on staying away from hypnotherapy. I only do stage hypnosis. I have all my stuff labeled as 18 plus because of consent. And that's another thing. I do require an 18 plus for the Twitch rules. Yeah, 18 plus legal age of consent for a lot of these things. So that's why all my stuff has plastered that it's an 18 plus stream and a bunch of that. So I would recommend anything that's involving live hypnosis to be kept at 18 plus.
Have you ever had sessions go wrong?
Yeah, I've experienced it going wrong. Usually it's something that you didn't know about. Like when I was doing one session with one person, they were afraid of drowning. So they actually had a huge fear of like water and drowning, and I was using the term sinking into trance, which did not go well with them. So I had to avoid that word when I was working with them, and I had to kind of calm them down from a little panic attack from that. That was more so me not knowing a precondition and just having to be careful and watch out for stuff like that in the future. There's a lot of little things like that, but as I said earlier, the mind is pretty elastic, so even if like you fell asleep when someone hypnotizes you, you don't wake up hypnotized. You just wake up like you fell asleep. A lot of things like even if you mess up a little, the elasticity of the mind will just, it restores to what is a known working function more than less. So there is a bit of a wiggle room to kind of make mistakes, but I can't really think of any major mistakes I've made over the years, other than usually triggering someone PTSD because I did not know they had that sort of PTSD.
What's the extent of your ability? What are you able to do?
Quite a bit. I've done everything from taking people's favorite like scenes from a book or a movie and putting them into the action. I think I've put someone in Helm's Deep. That was probably one of the most intense one. Lord of the Rings, Helm's Deep, on the wall, defending it, running around with Gandalf. That was a pretty intense one. I have done things like Furry Hypnosis, where you transform someone to feel like they're their persona. So they have their tails, their ears, and are kind of like how I look right now, except for their persona. I have done phantom sensations, making people forget their own name. Of course, you bring it back afterwards. Everything I do, I make sure to be temporary. I don't like doing anything permanent. There's quite a bit of what you can do, but for me, it's just having fun and making sure it's something that we're both going to have fun doing together. I like hypnosis because it allows you to experience new things and new places, and it allows you to live out fantasies. And for me, I don't want to change you. I don't want it to be anything bad. I don't want it to be anything crazy. I just want you to have a chance to relax. I want you to have a chance to enjoy and a chance to experience something new. So I really don't care about the whole power thing with hypnosis. I just enjoy helping people relax and have a good time. When it comes to like converting someone into something they're not interested in, that's not fun for them. It's not going to be fun for me. I'd rather just stick to something that's fun for both of us, you know? And to all you out there, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow Condensed Nuts. Take care. Bye.
I just know I'm gonna get comments asking about it, but yes, I did look it up, and you apparently can use it in that form. But no, I'm not gonna ask him about that! No! No! Bad! Stop it!